Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here, and I missed you guys last week, but that's okay. The fam is well, so we are good to go. My name is Brandy, and what I do is I talk about history and dark history while I put on some makeup. And if that sounds cool, please hit that subscribe button. But yeah, we talk about all kinds of history here. It could be native history, witch history, lots of history, because I'm in love with history. Today is a little bit different than what we normally do. And so instead of kind of telling you any clues, let's just go ahead and get this party started. So picture a young girl, growing up, and she's had a few difficulties in her life, some very strenuous times, but like any girl, she falls in love. And unfortunately, the person that she fell in love with, her parents didn't like so much. I'm sure we've all experienced that feeling, here and there when we've been in our dating games or whatnot, what matters, what the fam says matters, And so her mom is very disappointed that the person that her daughter has fallen in love with is not the person she wants for her daughter. Okay. And so instead of maybe just voicing your opinion, like somebody would do, she put a curse. She put a curse on her daughter's marriage. And that's kind of what drew me into this, was because there's a curse. And she's going to be doing things later on because of this curse. And so just think about that. You're growing up, you've had a hard life, you find somebody that you love, and then your mom comes over and does a curse. I don't know what kind of curse we're talking about or anything like that, but I will tell you that it definitely affected the person that we are talking about today in a negative way, or at least she so thinks anyway. So, and today we're talking about Leonarda y'all know how I am with names. Cinicelli. Okay, she's from Italy, all right? Now, they have her listed as a serial killer / cannibal. Yeah, that's where we're going with this week's episode, okay? But let's talk about her, early years. Now, like I say, in her early years, she didn't have that greatest childhood at all. Poor thing. She was very depressed. And she actually tried to exit this world twice, and when she was a kid. And so you can kind of feel like she has a little bit of mental health issues. But that doesn't faze her as she gets older, and she falls in love with a man. And his name is Raphael Pansardi. Okay. Now, our girl today, we're going to call her Leo, because it's easier for me to say Leo than Leonarda. Come on, get with me with the southern accent here a little bit. I'm sorry, I apologize. So, our gal today, let's do some history on her. Her birthday was April 18th, 1894. Okay, and she died October 15th, 1970. So she lived for a while. And so she falls in love with this man, and they get married. And her mother curses the marriage. We don't know how. We don't know what she did. We don't know what she used. We don't know if she just said something about it to them or whatnot. But they get married in 1917. So they get married. Now, tragedy already starts to strike her and her husband as they start trying to have children. Before we start talking about her kids, this is what we need to talk about. First, they moved to her husband's native town, which is Lauria Poncia, somewhere there in Italy. And somehow our girl Leo was accused of fraud there. So I don't know. It's very, very sketchy, that part. I couldn't find out that much. But so they ended up moving. So after the couple married, they moved to where her husband was from, like I say. And then she gets caught up in a fraud situation. And so once she gets out of jail for that, they went on ahead and moved to another place where an earthquake shatters their home, literally. I mean, she feels like she has all this terrible luck. And if you feel what I'm kind of building up to, you feel it. Life wasn't too bad there for a while. They ended up moving after their house during the earthquake and all that stuff. They moved again, and that's where Leo opened up a shop. Yeah, she opened up a little shop. I think I'm not really sure, but from the outcome of this, I think that she makes like soaps and like tea cakes and stuff like that. And she's actually like really well respected in her community, and things of that nature. If people go to her for help and things like that, you know. But as things are going so good, inside her house is not going so good. And what I mean by that is she has 17 pregnancies. Okay. 3 of them were miscarriages. And then 10 of her children, 10, passed away, you know, from illness or whatnot in their younger years, leaving her with 4 kids. Okay, imagine carrying all these children to term, loving them so much. You know, she's married for love. She's super happy. And 10 of her children pass away during their lifetime. And let me tell you, she's only got 4 left. And so she's bound and determined to protect them at all costs. And what does she start? She starts thinking, this curse that my mom put on my family, that's got to be what this is. It's got to be the curse, you know. But she was still very, very delightful. She was very protective of her 4 kids. She even went and saw a fortune teller. The fortune teller said she would marry and have kids, but they would die young. So she was actually kind of warned a little bit ahead of time. Then she went to go see a Romani palm reader. And that dude said that in your right hand, I see prison. And in your left hand, I see a criminal asylum. Yeah, a little foreshadowing there for you guys. You know what I mean? She is, those were her choices according to these people. You know, they said they predicted the deaths of her children. Also, you got to understand, this is during World War II. During this era, you know, forgot to mention that. This is during World War II, just in case y'all aren't up on the history times. World War II was very, very rough, especially in Italy, obviously. And so that it was probably hard to keep children and things like that alive because of all the things that were going on there at the time. So 1939 comes around, and what happens? Her oldest, named Giuseppe, and her favorite is about to go into the army. Like I say, we're in military times now. You know, Italy is getting beat up military style, and so he wants to go and join the army, the Italian Guard. And she is so frightened for her favorite child, for her eldest child, her, you know, the one out of the 4 she has left out of the 17 she tried to have. I mean, that's traumatic enough to lose that many children. And then for your son to be like, yeah, okay, now I'm going to go and fight in World War II. It's like, well, good Lord, you know. So she gets to thinking about this curse that her mom put on her. And she's like, you know what? If she can put a curse on me, maybe I can lift this curse and protect my son at the same time. Because she was so afraid he was going to go off and he was going to get killed in the army. And, you know, she did not want that to happen. She could not go through another loss. She just could not do it. She couldn't do it. So she decided that she was going to do something that was going to make her into a serial killer, basically. So our gal gets thinking, she's upset. Her son's going to leave. He may never come back. So instead of, doing something normal, she decides human sacrifices. That's what's going to lift this curse, right? Human sacrifices. So here's where she becomes the serial killer / cannibal as well. Oh yes, she is a cannibal too, because she ends up turning her victims into tea cakes and soap. Okay, that's how she gets rid of the bodies. So let's talk about her victims and like who they were, because they were like her freaking neighbors. There were people she knew, people that depended on her, and the things that she did to kind of get them there. You know what I mean? So the first victim was Faustina Setti. And she was a longtime spinster, okay? And she come to Leo asking, do you know where I can get a husband? Like, I need a husband. This is still like way back in the day. And so Leo comes up with this idea. She's like, yeah. I know this guy. I know a guy for you. I know the perfect guy for you. Perfect. He lives in Pola. And so I'm going to hook you two up. But what you need to do is not tell anybody about this. I need you to write some letters and I will send those out for you when you reach your destination to your friends and your family. That way they know where you're going. And so her friend agrees. Faustina said, okay, awesome. I'm going to go home, get my stuff together, let me know when to go. So she goes home and she gets her stuff together. And she goes to go see her friend Leo one last time before she goes and meets the new man of her life. And Faustina invites her in. Not Faustina, excuse me. Leo invites Faustina in. And they're talking and she's pouring her tea and things of that matter. And then all of a sudden, when her friend's back is turned, Leo hits her with an axe. Yes, hits her with an axe and it kills her. So now Leo has this body in her house that she's killed her friend. She cuts her up into 9 pieces. Okay. And this next part, she goes into detail about what she does, and I'm going to tell you what she said. Okay, so this is what she said for Faustina. I threw the pieces into a pot, added 7 kilos of caustic soda, which I had bought to make soap, and stirred the mixture till the pieces dissolved in a thick, dark mush that I poured into several buckets and emptied into a nearby septic tank. As for the blood in the basin, I waited until it coagulated, dried it in the oven, ground it up, mixed it with flour, sugar, chocolate, milk, and eggs, as well as a bit of margarine, kneading all of the ingredients together. I made lots of crunchy tea cakes and served them to the ladies who came to visit, and though Giuseppe and I also ate some. Yeah, that's what she did. That's how she did Faustina, her friend. That was her human sacrifice, and I guess by taking part, by eating it too, was also some kind of protection, But hey, to her, this is protecting her son, okay? These human sacrifices were protecting her son, and it wouldn't be too long before she would need to do another one, okay? And Leo would also benefit from these ladies financially when they died, because they would be paying her for her services. Their family, Faustina's family and friends, all think that she's off with this guy. They have no idea that all of this has happened. Okay, that little confession I told you is what she says in court, but I just thought I'd go ahead and throw it in there. So anyway, she's like, well, my son needs a little more extra protection, right? And so she's not going to stop with Faustina. She goes to another friend, Actually, the friend comes to her, and her name was Francesca Savoy. This is September 5th in 1940. Leo told her, hey, I found a job for you. Yeah, it's an awesome job. You're going to really like this job because there was some kind of school that she was going to help her, be able to teach at or whatnot. And, yada, yada, yada. And so she told her the same day that she told old girl, she was like, yeah, go ahead and write letters to your friends and your family. Don't tell them about this job, but I'm going to send you here. This is where you need to go, and blah, blah, blah. And so anyway, of course, what does she do? She goes to go visit her friend before she leaves. Now, when these ladies passed, she got money because, like I say, she was getting paid. The first one paid off in like 30,000 lire. And so now we have the one that's going to a school, right? That's supposedly just for all girls. She tells her, hey, don't tell your family. Don't tell anybody. No, it'll be fine. So anyway, she comes to come visit her friend. Francesca decides to go visit her friend. That hooked her up with this gig. Go thank her before she leaves and all this other stuff. Thank you so much for the job. I appreciate it. So she invites her in. It's like, hey, why don't you come and have a drink? Come have a drink with me, before you go on your new journey to your new job and the new place and all this other stuff. That's what Leo says. Come in and have a drink with me. So Leo drugs her drink, her friend's drink. And then, of course, does the same thing, ends up killing her the same way. Literally disposes of the body exact same way as I told you guys before. She makes it into tea cakes. Okay. And soap. And yes, I'm telling you, this woman, I can't imagine how long that would have taken and how nobody had caught on. Like it took 3 people for them to finally figure it out. But anyway, we'll get to the third one. So when this one passed, of course, she got payment for finding her a job of 3,000 lire. And so, but yet somebody had seen something. Somebody saw something. Yeah. And it's very, very important. So, like I said, the second one was September 5th. Yeah, well, this next one doesn't happen, and it happens a lot quicker. It happens September 30th, and this is her third victim. And her third victim is she's a widow. Her name's Virginia. She was a former singer, soprano. She sang for this amazing theater that was in Scala at the time. Leo says she found work for Virginia as a secretary for a mysterious impresario. It's like a person that finances like plays and shows and things like that. So she's like, I got you a job working for this guy as his receptionist, She does the same thing. She says, don't tell anybody, about this. This is just between me and you. Just like the first 2 women, and tells her to write these letters, and she's like, I'll send them out whenever you get there, I will send these out to your friends and your family and all this other kind of stuff. Well, unfortunately, she does the same thing like she did the first 2 women, but she actually melted Virginia's body. This is the one she actually made into soap. Okay. Yeah, I know. So she kills Virginia with an axe, just like the other ones, chops her, puts her up, says that her fat would make good soap. Now, she also said this quote at her trial. She ended up in the pot like the other 2. Her flesh was fat and white, and when it had melted, I added a bottle of cologne. And after a long time on the boil, I was able to make some most acceptable creamy soap. I gave bars to the neighbors and acquaintances. The cakes, too, were better. That woman was really sweet. Yo, when I read that last part, I was like, wait, what? You talking about that woman was sweeter than the other ones? What? That's what she said at her trial, though. And a neighbor had seen the last one, Virginia, go into her house and saw that she did not leave. No, she's like, so everybody starts to wonder after a while, where did these women go? You know, and of course she got money from this one and all this other stuff. Well, the police opened up an investigation after one of the neighbors, like I say, had saw one of the women go into her house and not come out, you know, and then all of a sudden these letters going out talking about fake places and all this other stuff. So the police arrest her, and at first Leo's like, no, I didn't do anything. I didn't do it. It wasn't me, you know. And so they tried to put it on her son, Giuseppe. And that's when she was like, no, I did it. It was me. I did the whole thing. It was all my idea. He had no idea that he was doing it and any of this was happening. No, take the blame off him. She will literally do anything for her children. And of course, it wasn't even him doing it. It was her doing it. But just that them dangling her son in front of her and just being like, we could put it on him. And then she's like, no, it's me. It's me. I did this, you know. She ends up, it was her sister-in-law that actually had ratted her out, that had grown suspicious of her when she saw Virginia, and that went to Leo's house, and that was the last time that she saw her. She saw her go in there, and she didn't see her come out, you know what I mean? And so her sister-in-law got a little bit suspicious, and, you know, that's how everything ended up. And so she took all the blame off of her son, was like, no, he didn't do anything. I did all of this, you know. You know, I'm sorry, but I'm still stuck on this sweet, on how the lady was sweet. You feel me, guys? Like, how are you going to make a comment like that? You just ate 3 people, okay? I mean, not all of it, you know, but still, she made them into, like, imagine being the neighbor and getting this amazing creamy soap, supposedly. And she's like, oh my God, this is my new favorite soap. And then like a month later, you come to find out, oh my God, it's made out of our neighbors. Like, oh, I mean, I can't even imagine it. I can't even fathom that shit in my head. But hey, you know, that's exactly what she said. She said that last one was really sweet. And yeah, bonkers. So she went to trial, you know, and she would actually correct people when they were wrong about things that she did. She'd be like, oh, no. I actually donated that ladle that I used to skim the fat with. I donated that during World War II because, you know, you guys needed metal and copper and stuff. Mm-hmm. They still have her little cauldron, too. I'll show y'all a picture. But... so anyway, she was very forthcoming during her trial. She had no shame, none whatsoever. She just wanted to make sure that her kids didn't go down for this. And so she got sentenced. Of course, she was guilty. She got sentenced to 30 years in a correctional facility. And then 3 years in a, like an insane asylum. Well, that's what they would call them back then, asylums, but a mental hospital. And then she passed away in the women's hospital. Like, guys, she was almost out, but she was really, really ill by this time. And she ended up dying from a stroke, unfortunately. And so that is what happened to our girl, Leonarda. And the reason I talked about her and the reason I was so interested was, first off, the curse that her mom supposedly threw out. That's witchy to me. And so in order for her to save her children, she decided, I mean, she went really, really, like, way too far with it, obviously. But the only way she saw out of this curse, supposedly from her mother, was to hurt other people and harm other people to keep her own children safe. It's the only reason why she did that. it's not like she got pleasure in hurting these women, even though she set up some elaborate schemes to get these women to come and to, would make up stuff and say, hey, write a letter and all that. But they have her classified, like I say, as a serial killer and cannibal. But the witchy aspect of it is what grabbed me, because she's trying to defend herself against her mother's curse, supposedly, that she put on her. And she thinks that all these things that's happened, her going to jail, an earthquake destroying their house, her having 3 miscarriages and losing 10 kids, having 17 pregnancies, like, that is monumental in itself. Like, 17 pregnancies? No way. No, not for me. No. But they do have some of her artifacts. They're in a museum, like the pot that she cooked the people in. Yeah, they got that. They may not have the ladle, but they got the pot that she stirred in, and it's like a big cauldron. And I was like, it's got witchy vibes to it. So that's why I wanted to talk about this today. She passed away October 15th, 1970. And her artifacts are on display at the Criminological Museum in Rome. They called her the human soap maker. Yeah. So that's our story for today, you guys. So I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas and all that fun stuff. And hopefully I probably won't see y'all this Thursday, but I will see you next Monday. So have a happy holiday, and I love you guys. Have a great day.